Today we're going to draw a strawberry plant in Procreate, but the main focus is really on how to use reference photos without feeling like you have to copy them exactly. I'll show you how to look at a few different images, notice the shapes of the leaves, the flowers, the berries, and the stems and all that good stuff, and simplify those details into a lovely little illustration. So I'm using royalty-free reference photos from Pixabay, and I'll leave the links for those in the description below. Let's draw together. So for this project, I'm going to be using my living watercolor canvas, which of course is found in the Illustrator Starter Kit, so you can go ahead and grab that if you want to. And I'm also going to be using this app called VizRef. So this is a great little app that it's only a few dollars and it's super useful and really easy to use. So I'm just going to go and grab it. Now what this is going to be for is storing my reference photos. So you can see right here, they are all there. I just have imported them simply by pushing on the plus sign and inserting files or from photos wherever you've stored your downloads. And those links for these reference photos are in the description. So you can go grab them there. And what I've done, you can just arrange them so you can tap on it and then like move them around, size them up, size them down, place them how you want. So I've placed them in this order just so that they're narrower because I like to I'm just gonna move the center bar so I just can have them over here. Now, if you don't want to get VizRep, that's totally fine. Of course, you can just go in your canvas, you can just go to your wrench and insert your photo or insert your file wherever you've saved it. I've saved it to downloads and I could just bring this picture in here and I could just line them up here. I would bring it above my canvas so I can see it a bit better. You know, you can just line them all up here and then be drawing. So whatever you prefer. Or of course you can use your camera roll, like or your photos in here, but then you'll only see them one at a time, which is fine too. So however you like to work, but it is just a really handy tool I love to use when I can, especially when working with reference photos. We're just gonna use these as our guides. We know actually what we're drawing, but you can see here, there's no picture that's, you know, we're not gonna copy this exactly because that's not, you know, the most interesting composition for an art piece, right? So we're going to have to use our imagination as well as what the real thing actually looks like. So it's a combination of the two. So I'm just going to be using my simple sketcher from the Illustrator Starter Kit. I'll just start with that and just to map out basically where I want things. So I want something has a little bit of movement, still true to the essence of what a strawberry plant looks like, but not super literal. Okay, so I really love the flowers, of course. It's always fun to draw. So I'm gonna have a nice big prominent one here, and then I'm gonna have a nice curve here. And that will be a stem, and then I want something kind of coming out like this. So I kind of have this S shape. And then we'll have another flower here, but it's going to be smaller because we want to play with size and variety. And then let's have something coming up here, and we'll have the leaves, and basically we can see what types of leaves that are there amongst these pictures here. So I'm going to have some leaves, these curves, and 1, 2, 3, kind of like that. And then let's get to our main bit. We're gonna have a main strawberry here. So this is going to balance this. So we'll have our main strawberry here. And then I want one here. And I'll tell you why in a sec, because we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, because these are gonna be pops of red, so I don't want them all like in a row. I want them to be evenly placed, and funnily enough, 3 is often a great way to balance something. So I'm gonna have a smaller one here, right? So this can, and I want to look at these, and they have these lovely droopy, curly sort of, not vines, but you know, like how they're attached there. So I want to really emphasize that. And this, kind of like that. So you can see how I'm trying to get this flowing motion going. It'll make it a little bit more interesting to look at. Okay, and what's coming up here, there's just gonna be a bud. So that's just gonna be smaller like that. This is a strawberry, by the way. Obviously, this is. So this is the biggest one. Actually, I want to make sure that's really obvious here. This is the medium sized, and this is just the little baby. So that's interesting too. And then this needs to be filled in a little bit. So I think obviously, of course, a leaf would be appropriate. Kind of coming out here like that. So a leaf. Maybe we'll have one kind of filling in a bit of this gap here. This is coming together. Okay, let's just work on this. So this sort of tri-leaf bit here. Okay, let's just, we'll get the more of the details here. Right now I'm just sort of mapping it out. It's more about composition at this stage. And then like this. Okay. And we can rearrange anything if we need to, but let's just start here. I'm going to have this nice center. Now, one thing I'm going to note here, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know that they all have 5 petals. So I'm just going to do these little spokes. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it? Great. Okay. Now I want to have a little bit of play here. I want to make sure that this isn't the same size as this. I want it to be bigger or smaller. I'm going to choose bigger, see how we go. So I'm just using my selection tool with uniform selected just to change that so I can look and see, make sure that is working there. Okay, good stuff. And I want to make sure that this strawberry is like our kind of our main strawberry. So nice and big. I want to make sure it's bigger than this. So I'm just gonna do that. And this one, I want to make sure it's maybe a little bit, maybe on an angle, kind of like that. That makes a little bit more drama to it. Okay, looks good. And here we're gonna have, so we have basically our 3 flowers here, and they're all gonna be slightly different. This one is going to be more on an angle. Sorry, I'll do the spokes again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one will have sort of the petal coming up here, so it's slightly to the side. And that's, again, making it a little bit more interesting. Just having that variety. And that will be, I'm trying to make sure this doesn't interfere too much with this. Maybe I'll figure this guy out first. So perhaps I'll just select him and make it a little bit more obvious like this. So I'm just going to erase that. Just really have this curve here. Okay, that's kind of fun. Looks messy because I've made it so dark. There we go. All right, and then you'll have all of your, the greenery here. Those bits coming up like that. Don't want to interfere too much. I'm getting a little close, so I'm going to just move this guy. Maybe make it just a hair bigger, just so these two are different sizes as well. I don't want them to be the same. And okay, I think that's probably good. And then it'll be kind of connecting through here. I'm just trying to figure out where that's attaching through there. Okay, and this will be a bud that's just coming from behind this flower. So you'll have more of the green. Let's have a look. See, there's lots of green here. There's a nice bud. Perfect. That green there, and then we'll just have it like that. Now, I'm going to need to balance the greenery here because we have green here, green here. This guy needs a little bit of green, so let's just add a little leaf coming in here. And I like that shape pointing out and down, so that line of motion, we have this nice circular composition that keeps flowing around, and that looks good. Okay, I think we'll have, make sure we have a little bit of green sticking out there. Okay. So at this stage, you know, you just got to keep it loose, keep it flowing, and make all your edits there. Okay, these two should be together. You know, I don't want everything to have a separate stem. They should come, you know, clumped together in some areas, which would make sense. Let's just look at a strawberry here and have, you know, these bits like that. Okay, so that guy looks good. It looks like that. You see what I mean? Like these bits here. Just really want to capture some of those lovely little, you know, details that strawberries naturally have. Okay, so I am happy with this as a composition. So that's good. The first step here. Right. Okay, so let's move on to actually creating a nicer sketch of this. So let's start by creating a new layer on top. I'm just going to tap on the end and turn the opacity of my sketch below. Okay, so let's start with our strawberries. So I'm just going to be zoomed in on these. We can kind of get the idea. When I draw the seeds, I'm not going to draw that many because it would be a little overwhelming. So all these things you can take and then you can simplify or add or embellish, and that's how you want to look at it as an artist. Okay, so let's just go ahead and I'm going to be still using my simple sketcher. I'm going to maybe have this size about 15, let's say. All right, so I'm just going to use a little bit of artistic interpretation because I'm not loving exactly how the greenery and the bits at the top of the strawberry are, but that's okay, we can change that. So I'm going to have this stem coming in here like that and kind of see it. And then, you know, have a bit of a bit there, a little greenery. Just so they're all, you know, flipping up and having it go around. Maybe one's from behind, giving some nice coverage. Actually, I probably want this from here, and then this one absolutely behind. That'd probably make more logical sense. Okay, and then we're gonna have a lovely shaped strawberry. Maybe that's a little bit too far out there. I just don't want this to be too pointy because they're not. Okay, that's good. Right, let's move on to the next one. So I'm going to be having this up and over. Same thing, I'm just going to cover that with one little green bit here. And let's see, you know, I just want to make sure that they are extending beyond the actual red part of the strawberry so that you can see it, it stands out. You can have it nice and full if you want. I think that's probably good. I was getting this end wrong. I'm trying to write this on my sketch. Okay, wonderful. Let's have a look, see at this little nugget here. All right. And you can kind of have them flare out a bit. So if you want them more foreshortened, you can. Maybe with this one, it would be a little bit more appropriate. Okay. Lovely. That's really cute. Okay, let's just see. I'm going to line the seeds as well. These are, some are in more of a pattern than others, so I'm going to note that this one isn't quite as much, but you can see this one is. So I'm going to use that as a general guide, and I'm going to alternate them. If you want to, you could always go on your sketch layer, tap on that, and kind of give yourself a bit of a guide, which might not be a terrible idea. So have it rounding, you know what I mean? And then rounding like this. Hopefully you can see that. So now you can kind of have a grid if you'd like, if that's helpful. So I'm just going to draw these little seeds and then alternate them. And I do notice that, of course, they do get a little bit more tighter together when you get near the bottom, so we can do that a little bit as well. Okay, I think that's good. Let me just turn off the sketch so we can see. I think that's enough to just get the idea without going overboard on detail. Okay, we can do the same thing here. So I'm just going to go to my sketch layer again and just give myself a little bit of a roadmap, a little bit of a grid. Make sure it's rounded though. So round it, curve, curve, curve. Okay. While we're here, let's just do this too. Not that this one is as big of a deal, but you get the idea. Okay, back to our good copy layer. And let's just start by adding a few here. Okay, and this guy, let's just have our reference here. Okay, good stuff. I'm happy with that. All right, so let's move on to the other major parts of this whole operation here, the flowers. So we're gonna notice, have a look and see what these are. We already know that there's 5 petals, we've got that. They have a very interesting way of doing these little shapes here. I always notice that, the way they connect. And it's almost like they have these little, not triangular, but it's kind of a type of triangular shape in there. So I'm gonna try to copy that. And then you'll see that the centers, these are like these little balls, and then these little stamens pointing up from it. So we're going to try to capture that. So my sketch, I just did a basic thing. So I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit more with my shapes. So just trying to note how these work. So I'm gonna come out here more and then tuck in, out here more and then tuck in, like that shape. And then you're gonna want them to touch sometimes. So see what I mean by making that triangular shape here? And then, you can give it a wiggle too. They don't have to be perfect like that. Okay, and then maybe this one is coming in front. So we'll overlap again and making sure that this, this petal behind here comes in to make that shape. Okay, and I'm just gonna be making sure that I've got that there. Having those shapes. Okay, I think that's probably pretty good. Righto, and then we're gonna for this, you're just gonna kind of go and just do a wiggly, like just push like on your pencil to make these lovely wiggly lines. And I'm going to, again, do that in here, just like kind of do some dots and some wiggles. It's just going to create a look of texture, which is exactly what we want. And I'm going to do it heavier on this side to create what would kind of look like a shadow. So just a few up here, a bit more down there. Just having the weight on this one side. Okay, and that starts to, just with a pencil, create that look that it is rounded, not just flat. All right, and then we're gonna have these little bits come up. So just a line and a circle. I mean, we're just drawing these little bits. And they just kind of come up all the way around. You can just see. Okay, something like that. Now we can add a few details. I'm just actually just going to turn the sketch off just so I can see a little bit better, make sure I'm on the right track here. I can just draw a few little lines, just a few vein lines that are all pointing towards the center. I have a little fold here. If you can get that there, something like that. Just a few little details. Don't have to go overboard if you don't want to, just have a few. Okay. Wonderful, let's have a look. Okay, great. I'm gonna have a little bit of the green bits that pop out here, maybe come like that. Okay, and then make sure we have this stem here. That's, substantial enough to be able to hold that flower. Okay, that's good. We can do the bud. Now where's our little bud here? Oh, we have this guy. Okay, that's good. So let's just make sure this curves a bit. I don't want any straight lines here. And have that open up like that. Then you'll have your greenery coming out here. Something like that here. Just making sure it extends beyond the little bit of white that will go in here. Just do some few lines like that. It's not a lot. Maybe a few little veins like that. That's more than enough for the bud. Our last little flower here. So let's see, a little foreshortened. Don't think I have a perfect picture of it, but we have the idea. All you have is one petal that's flipping up. Let's start with the center this time. So you can kind of see here how this works. So you're gonna have it kind of go up and around like this and have those little dark bits here just to weight that and have, it's lighter up here. Okay, and then you're gonna have the stamen just the same as before, but on this side, you're gonna kind of have them coming up like this. You're not gonna see it very clearly here because of the nature of this sketch, but I think I'm getting a little too far away, so let's just rein that in a little bit. Okay, so you kind of see how that's moving that way, so that helps that we know it's kind of on the side. Okay, so let's do our petals here. Try to create that triangle shape where we can. It's a little bit harder on the angle, so don't worry about it too much. So this is the underside of this petal. Probably create that shape here where this comes in there. And same with here. See that little triangle there? It's just a teeny detail, but it helps. Okay, good. And then we'll have a bit of the green bits that come out. Oops, don't have it touch like just, end to end like that. That doesn't look very natural. It's a little bit awkward. Okay, and we'll have the stem coming across this guy here. Okay, so let's get our stems organized here. I'm just going to continue on with this one, just making sure that that lines up. I'm going to have all these joined together here. let's just join these up. Okay, let's see. This guy will come around here. Connect in there. All right, what about this one? And we'll get our lovely leaves here in a minute. Okay. All right, we'll figure out how this all works down here in a sec. Let's just have a look without our sketch just to see. Okay, happy with that. Okay, so our leaves, let's just go and investigate those. So we can see they have a nice pointy shape and these little variegated edges. So we can see they're in a leaf shape, so I think we're, we're doing well with that. We just need to have these edges. So let's go ahead and start with it. So I'm going to just start with a center vein detail. And then I'm going to start with here. So these little bits, and then it's just going to be like how overly detailed or how, you know, exaggerated you want these. Up to you. So I'm just going up and down. I think that's a little bit of an easier way to do it. I think that's probably good. And I am going to draw in more veins for this, having them nicely curved, a little bit darker when you get to the center. And I'm going to have them relatively lining up like that. Have a little curve. Do you see how it curves like that? It gives it a nice detail. Okay, right, on to the next one. So let's just make sure that I'm connecting in here naturally. So this would go like this. This would break off from here like that. And this one would be up and over like that. Okay. Have the center vein so we make sure our curves are making sense. Create your first point and then have your little jagged edge. Maybe that's a little overboard. There we go. Okay, and then some veins. So lighter pressure, then darker as you get into the center, and then curve the other way here. And have a look. Good stuff. All right, let's carry on. Center vein, nice and curved. Just making sure you're moving your canvas so you're making it easier for yourself. Clean this up a touch. There we go. And the veins. And this one is going to follow this. Like that. Good stuff. All right. I think I just want this to be a little bit more in there. There we go. Great. Okay, so we just have a couple more to do. So let's do this guy. So he's just tucking into that flower there. Oops, sorry. There we go. Okay, we're just gonna have to pretend that this line is going over here. So just try to imagine that. then maybe we just see a little bit there, and that's enough. Okay. All right, so let's just do this guy here. So he's kind of, oops, I'm not gonna draw it like that. I'm gonna do my jagged edges. So let's just start with the vein there, a little bit. And then he's foreshortened, so it's gonna be like that. You can do this curve here. So it's coming out. We don't see the stem part, it's already behind it because it's coming over. Okay, and then our little veins, nice and curved. And have a look. All right, good. Okay, I think this is going to be coming in front here, like so. And this, let's have this connect here so they're not all just vanishing. I think that behind the leaf, I think that might look a little bit nicer. Yeah, I think that's good. We can finish this off too. Have it a little thicker, maybe like that. Okay. And then this one, I'm gonna have it tucking behind because I don't want it to be parallel to it. So let's see if we can get that to happen in a nice way. Kind of end it like that. And this part can just be like that. All right. Maybe we'll see just a little bit behind there, just so it looks a little natural. Okay, so let's turn off our sketch and see what we have. Lovely, I'm really happy with that. So you can see how we've used our photos to just for research and to figure out what things look like and what little details we can add, but it's certainly your own interpretation, imagination, and making it into art, not a real drawing of, just exactly what the plant looks like. So you can go ahead and paint it in. That's what I'm going to do. So if you want to join me, I'm just going to put on a little bit of music and we can paint together, or you can leave it as a sketch or paint it completely differently than I do. So your choice. Have fun. And there's our strawberry plant all finished. So I hope that helped you see how reference photos can be used as a guide without feeling like you have to copy every single little detail. Sometimes it's just about studying your subject matter and noticing the shapes and choosing the parts you like best and then turning those into your illustration. And I'll leave the links below for the royalty-free reference photos, and they'll be in the description. So in case you want to have a look at them too. And if you like the brushes and canvas and tools that I used today, you can grab them for free inside the goodie bag. I'll leave the link there as well. And I'd love to know in the comments, what would you like to practice drawing from reference photos next? Some flowers or fruits or animals or something completely different? If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more beginner-friendly Procreate tutorials. It really helps the channel grow and helps me keep making videos just like this for you. And check out this video right here to keep the creativity flowing. I know you'll enjoy it. Love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.